Chad Schwartz is super trainer, registered dietitian. He does tell me your job, exercise physiologist as well. So he's way smarter than any of us. So that's like he's gonna do the presentation on this stuff and hopefully give you guys tons of information that you can use. Kind of like it to be interactive, so we kind of discussed it ahead of time whether or not we wanted to hold questions till the end, or I think it works a little better if you guys see something on the sheet that we're going through at the time, maybe something piques your interest and you want to know a little bit more about it. Feel free to ask, and then we can interact a little more. We have more of a group conversation than a lecture. So what's your name?
I'm Ann.
I'm Ann. I'm John. You're Ann. I'm John.
Sounds good.
Chad. This is Chad.
Nice to meet you.
Do you have kids in sports?
I do.
How old are they?
They're 11 and 9.
And what sports do they play? You don't have to name them all. Just give me like the top two.
Baseball, basketball, volleyball, soccer.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Take it away. Does anybody need water? Do you need water? You need water.
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead and have water.
Thank you.
All right. Well, welcome. Like John said, Chad Schwartz. I'm personal trainer, dietitian, exercise physiologist. Started out in dietetics, decided that there was a lot more to the picture. We wanted to incorporate both nutrition and exercise to hopefully get the most bang for our buck. If we concentrate too much on one area or the other and don't focus on the entire picture, obviously we're not going to see the results that we want. So that was kind of some background on me on why I chose to do both exercise and nutrition. Like John said, when I do presentations, I have a sort of bullet list of things that I want to cover. If you have questions, if there's a topic that we're covering, throw the hand up, I'll pause, throw it out there. Don't save it to the end where we might forget it. So basically, most of this information that we're going to give is pretty all-encompassing, as far as adults, children. A lot of the ideas are the same. Some of the amounts are going to be a little bit different. So a lot of the principles, you, spouses, friends, could apply the same ideas to yourselves in your own training if you're competitive in any sort of volleyball league or soccer or what have you. Any questions before we get started? Okay, so we're going to work through the handouts from left to right. So the first thing that we want to cover is hydration. Water makes up roughly 2/3 of the body's weight, 60 to 70%. We all see that. We're all hear that stat that the human body is mostly water. But why is that? What does it do? What are the functions of water in the body? One of the main things, especially when it comes to athletics, is regulation of body temperature. That's probably the number one thing. So we want to focus on making sure that we stay hydrated so that in warm environments, and even in cold environments, water plays a vital role in regulating body temperature. So if we find somebody's getting dehydrated, even in cold weather, they have trouble keeping their body warm. We usually only think of it that keeping yourself cool in warm weather. For instance, hockey players, or if you have kids that want to go out in the winter and it's 10 degrees with 5 below wind chill and they want to go play hockey, it's important to stay hydrated to keep themselves warm, regulate the body temperature. What else? Water is a lubricant in the body, of course, for ligaments, bones, joints, making sure that those joints are well lubricated. But when we talk about lubrication, kind of in a sports sense, we think of cramping as a major side effect of dehydration. And actually what can cause that is if the water that's in the muscle, in between those muscle fibers, you kind of have muscle fibers that line up, and as the muscle contract, they can kind of rub against each other. And the space in between those muscle fibers is filled with water. So if that water starts to deteriorate and we get too much muscle rubbing together, the muscle can actually spasm, causing a muscle cramp. So water is a lubricant inside the muscle, not just in the joints. Metabolism. If you have kids that are focusing on their weight, either trying to gain weight or to lose weight, water plays a vital role in a healthy metabolism. It's basically everything, just like if you're in the kitchen, you're making a recipe, everything's done in the body in solution, meaning in water. So If you're burning carbohydrates or you're burning fat or transporting product A from point A to point B, it's all done in water. So we have to have enough water to support those basic functions. As far as dehydration is concerned, the body's pretty sensitive to it. If we look at the amount of water that you have in the body, again, making up about 2/3 of your body weight, you lose 3% of that body weight from water. So for a 100-pound kid to lose 3 pounds worth of sweat on a hot day playing football, wearing pads, not a hard thing to do. 3% water loss is considered dehydration. That's kind of when we would say that it starts. At 4%, research shows that your performance is decreased by up to 20%, 20 to 30%. So, to lose, if your kid's 125, 150 pounds, 6 pounds worth of water over the course of 2 days or something, and you get into junior high and high school, it's an easy thing to do. Some other side effects from dehydration, low blood volume, increased blood viscosity, which can become an issue. Basically, the blood gets thicker, gets harder to pump. It's more work for the heart, blood pressure starts to go up. Also, that increased viscosity, typically we don't think of it in kids, but there's an increased risk for blood clotting. So that's something that I personally know about. A couple deep vein clots in high school playing football. So staying hydrated, keeping that blood thin, keep it flowing, and lowering the risk for that. Increased heart rate, as the blood pressure goes up, the blood's not moving as easily or as quickly, the heart starts to have to overwork, heart rate goes up. Increased core temperature, again, because water is a vital part of regulating body temperature. Decreased sweating, that's kind of one of the last signs when you stop sweating, we always hit, that's the emergency. Cramping, heat exhaustion, then finally heat stroke. So how do you prevent all this? Generally, we want to try to replace all the water that we've lost in sweating plus 50%. So if you start an athletic competition or before, a lot of times at football or maybe soccer practice, cross-country practice, they may weigh the kids beforehand. If they don't, I would have you encourage your child to weigh themselves before and after and replace everything that they lost plus half. So,
Chad, if I'm,
Yeah.
say I do a volleyball tournament and I'm playing all day, if I start to get dehydrated and I start getting cramps, how long does it take for me to rehydrate? So say I lost 4%, how long does it take to get that 4% back, and what's the quickest?
well, to get that 4% in that's if you have a 150-pound kid and that's 6 pounds of water, it's a lot of water to try and slam down. So it does take a while.
It's almost a gallon.
Yeah.
Gallons.